Imagine waking up every morning and feeling deep in your soul that the universe is tirelessly working in your favor. No doubts, no fears, no whispers of uncertainty holding you back. Just unshakable faith, a vibrant certainty that no matter what happens, everything is falling into place exactly as it should. Pause for a moment and think. What if this wasn't just a beautiful dream? What if this were the real key that has driven the most extraordinary feats in human history? Napoleon Hill, one of the greatest thinkers on success and the human mind, didn't just preach this idea. He lived it, taught it as a non-negotiable principle for achieving any goal. And today, you'll understand why acting as if everything always works out for you isn't just a positive attitude. It's a conscious strategy, a mental science, an art of silent transformation that can change your life so profoundly that looking back, you won't recognize yourself. Today, we'll dive into the heart of a secret that's been within your reach all along. A secret that, when understood and applied, doesn't just inspire you, it transforms you. So stay with me, because what you're about to discover could be the turning point your soul has been waiting for. Now that you've opened the door to this new vision, it's time to look inward, to the true engine that's been silently shaping your life, your dominant mind. Imagine your mind as a vast, secret garden. Every thought you harbor is a seed. Every emotion you feel is the water that nourishes those seeds, and every belief you hold is the sun that lets them grow. The big question is, what have you been planting in your garden? Napoleon Hill put it plainly. The thought that dominates your mind day after day, month after month, year after year, will inevitably manifest in your physical reality. It's not about luck or destiny. It's about mental dominance. What you allow to dominate your mind becomes the blueprint for your life. If your dominant thoughts are of success, hope, and gratitude, your outer world will reflect those fruits. But if they're of fear, doubt, or quiet defeat, sooner or later, those too will bloom in your life. Here's the hard truth. Your mind has no sense of humor. It doesn't distinguish between what you desire and what you fear. It simply creates. Your subconscious mind, that silent architect, doesn't question your orders, debate with you, or protect you from destructive thoughts. It just accepts and builds according to the dominant instructions it receives. And those instructions are dictated by you, day after day, thought after thought, emotion after emotion. So stop and ask yourself, what story am I telling my mind every day? While some feed their subconscious with visions of victory, others unknowingly bombard it with images of failure, with affirmations like I can't, I'm not enough, it'll never happen for me. And the obedient subconscious says, so be it, and starts constructing that version of your life. This explains why so many talented, capable people end up trapped in lives of mediocrity. It's not lack of ability, it's lack of control over their dominant mind. Hill taught that this truth was inescapable. The human mind, like fertile soil, doesn't discriminate. If you plant wheat, you'll harvest wheat. If you plant weeds, you'll harvest weeds. What have you been harvesting? The good news is you can take conscious control of this process at any moment. You can uproot the weeds of doubt and plant new seeds of faith, success, and purpose. But it takes more than wishful thinking. It takes daily commitment, mental vigilance, and becoming the conscious gardener of your own mind. Now, think of your mind as a radio station broadcasting invisible waves all the time. Every dominant thought you emit is a frequency the universe hears. And like everything in nature, the universe responds to the vibration it receives. If you broadcast frequencies of confidence, success, and gratitude, you'll attract events, people, and circumstances that vibrate at the same wavelength. But if you broadcast fear, lack, or hopelessness, the obedient universe will deliver more of the same. That's why Napoleon Hill tirelessly repeated, "You are the master of your destiny, the captain of your soul." Because when you take control of your dominant thoughts, you take control of your life. Here's something you may never have been told so directly. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed before. It doesn't matter how tough your current circumstances seem. If today you decide to plant thoughts of victory, tomorrow you'll start seeing sprouts of a new life. It won't be instant or magical, but it will be inevitable, because the mind, once focused with conscious intent, becomes the most powerful force in your personal universe. So ask yourself right now, what thoughts deserve to dominate my mind from today on? Will I keep repeating old patterns, or will I become the conscious architect of my own story? You've already taken the first step. You're here, listening to these words, opening your mind to new possibilities. And what comes next will be even more powerful. Because now that you know your dominant mind builds your reality, it's time to learn how to program it deliberately to work in your favor. That's the hidden power of autosuggestion, the silent bridge between your desire and your destiny. Autosuggestion is, in simple terms, the invisible bridge between what you want and what you ultimately achieve. It's the deliberate act of feeding your subconscious mind with the thoughts, images, and beliefs you want to manifest in your life. Imagine your subconscious as fertile soil, and autosuggestion as the act of planting the right seeds over and over until the harvest becomes inevitable. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Through the repetition of thought, any idea, plan, or purpose can be implanted in the subconscious mind. It doesn't matter if you don't see immediate results today. It doesn't matter if your current reality seems to contradict your dreams. Autosuggestion isn't about what you see. It's about what you choose to keep believing, even when you can't yet touch it. Repetition isn't random. It's the key. Think of it like a drop of water falling on a rock. A single drop seems harmless, but thousands, millions of drops with persistence can shape even the hardest stone. That's how autosuggestion works in your mind. Every positive affirmation you plant, every visualization you fuel with real emotion, every thought of faith you choose to hold on to, each one slowly erodes the old structures of doubt, fear, and insecurity, building in their place a new mental framework, strong, clear, unbreakable. But for autosuggestion to work, two ingredients are essential: emotion and faith. Repeating empty words has no power. Reciting phrases without feeling them in your gut is like planting seeds in a barren desert. Emotion is the living water that makes the seed sprout. So when you practice autosuggestion, don't just say, "I'm making progress." Feel it. See in your mind. Celebrate it in advance, as if it's already a fact. Napoleon Hill explained that the subconscious can't resist an image repeated with enough emotion. It can't tell the difference between a real experience and one vividly imagined. This is where the real power emerges. When you daily plant mental images of victory, infused with genuine emotion, your subconscious begins accepting them as inevitable facts. Then, without even realizing how, you start acting differently. You make different decisions. You walk with a new energy, and the outer world, obedient as a mirror, starts reflecting that new internal programming. Remember, the subconscious doesn't filter. It accepts and creates accordingly. That's why Napoleon Hill warned, "Be careful what you allow into your mind." Autosuggestion happens all the time, whether you realize it or not. Every time you say, "I can't, this is too hard, I'll never change," you're practicing negative autosuggestion. And your mind, ever faithful, works silently to fulfill that prophecy. But today, right now, you can take control. You can turn autosuggestion into your most powerful ally. Here's a simple but profoundly transformative practice. Every morning and night, when your mind is most receptive, repeat clear, specific affirmations charged with emotion about the life you want to build. Visualize yourself already living that reality. Feel the joy, gratitude, and pride of having achieved it. Let your body and emotions experience it as if it were real, because to your subconscious, it is. And the more you practice, the more you water those seeds with authentic faith and emotion, the more inevitable the transformation becomes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now that you know how to plant the right seeds in your mind, let's talk about a principle that multiplies their power: decision. Napoleon Hill discovered something remarkable while studying the great achievers of his time. They all made decisions quickly and changed their minds very slowly, if at all. Why? The answer is simple but powerful. Decision is an act of faith. Indecision is an act of fear. When you decide clearly, you send an unmistakable message to your subconscious. This is what I want. This is who I am. This is where I'm going. And like an internal compass, your subconscious starts aligning thoughts, opportunities, actions, and events to support that decision. But when you hesitate, when you waver, when you spin like a weather vane caught in the wind, your mind receives mixed signals, and what gets created externally is equally mixed. Half-open doors, dead-end paths, opportunities that dissolve before they're seized. That's why Napoleon Hill warned, indecision is a major cause of failure. Deciding, even when you don't have all the answers, is one of the most profound acts of power you can perform. Because here's the secret. You don't decide because you're already certain. You decide to create that certainty. Every great breakthrough in human history began with a decision before there were guarantees. Think of explorers setting sail into unknown oceans, inventors betting their lives on ideas the world called madness, or Henry Ford deciding to build an affordable car for the masses when no one believed it possible. They didn't wait for the path to be clear. They decided, acted, and in that act of faith, they created the future. Now, imagine this. You're standing before two doors. One says, wait until I feel ready. The other says, decide now and move forward. Most people choose the first. They wait and wait until one day they look back and realize life has slipped through their fingers. But the few who transform their destiny choose the second door. Not because they don't feel fear, but because they choose to trust their vision more than their fears. Deciding is trusting that the path will become visible as you walk, not before. Napoleon Hill wrote, "The universe doesn't respond to lukewarm wishes. It responds to burning decisions." When you act as if everything always works out for you, you're making one of the most powerful decisions possible. The decision to trust before seeing, to move before knowing, to act before results are guaranteed. And this decision is magical. Because the moment you decide with your whole soul, the world starts opening in ways you couldn't have planned. The right people appear. Inspiring ideas arrive. Invisible doors open. Your energy changes. Your vibration shifts. The universe responds not to your doubts, but to your vibrant decision that you're destined for something greater. Napoleon Hill explained that this ability to decide was what separated achievers from dreamers. The former take the helm of their lives. The latter wait for favorable winds that never come. So ask yourself today, what decision have I been postponing? What do I know deep down I need to decide now, without guarantees, without perfect conditions? Because here's the truth few tell you. The security you seek isn't found before deciding. It's built after deciding. When you choose to move forward even in fog, to act even in fear, to believe even when the world doubts, then you become the conscious architect of your life. Today, I invite you to decide for yourself, for your dream, for your vision. To act as if it's already fact. To walk with the certainty that the universe responds to those brave enough to move first. Because in the next stage of this journey, you'll discover how persistence, that silent force that arises after deciding, is what turns dreams into realities and visions into empires. You've decided. You've planted the seed. You've taken a first step. But now the real test begins. Because the wise universe doesn't hand great gifts to those who are only excited for a moment. It gives them to those who persist. Napoleon Hill understood this better than anyone. Lack of persistence is a leading cause of failure. Not lack of intelligence, resources, or talent. Lack of persistence. Persistence is the quiet fire that keeps burning even when the winds of doubt blow hard. It's the inner voice whispering, one more step, one more try, one more day. When everything seems against you, remember, history almost forgot the great names simply because most people were ready to quit where they persisted. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He persisted 1,000 times until he found a way to light up the world. Henry Ford wasn't just rejected once. He was mocked, ridiculed, and pushed out of investors' offices. but he persisted until he changed transportation history. And Napoleon Hill himself, before writing his masterpiece, was rejected so many times most would have buried their dream. But not him, because they understood something most forget. Temporary failure isn't the end, it's a test. A test to see how badly you want what you say you want. A test to see if your faith is stronger than your circumstances. A test to reveal whether you're willing to pay success's price. Most see an obstacle and retreat. The persistent see an obstacle and interpret it as a sign they're close. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Every failure carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But that seed only germinates for those who keep walking, even when the ground is barren." Now, imagine this. You're climbing a mountain. Every step is hard. The wind hits your face. The fog hides the summit. Many stop, sit by the path, convince themselves it's too difficult, not worth it. But you decide to take one more step, then another, until suddenly the fog clears and you realize the peak was much closer than you thought. That's how real life works. Most great victories come right after the moment most people quit. Persistence won't always be glamorous. Sometimes it'll feel lonely. Sometimes it'll seem like no one sees you, no one supports you, no one understands why you keep going. But here's the truth. Persistence is a silent declaration of greatness. Every time you persist when it'd be easier to quit, you're writing a story worth telling. You're building an unbreakable character. You're sending the universe a clear signal. I'm ready to receive what I've decided to build. So ask yourself today, where have I been tempted to give up? What dream deserves my persistence like never before? Because here's a promise. If you persist long enough, with enough faith and passion, the world will have no choice but to yield. The opportunities that seem distant today, the results that seem impossible now, the dreams that feel too big, they're all on their way. But you'll only reach them if you choose to persist beyond the moment's emotion, beyond fatigue, beyond doubt. Because persistence doesn't just change your outer world, it changes who you are inside. You become unshakable, someone for whom failure isn't the end, but an inevitable part of the journey to success. Remember, the universe always rewards those who insist with intelligence, passion, and faith. So keep walking. One more step, one more try, one more day. Because just when it seems everything's against you, you'll be closer to your summit than you ever imagined. And in the next stage, you'll discover something even deeper. How the environment you choose for your mind can be the silent ally that fuels your persistence, or the invisible enemy that sabotages it. Now that you understand persistence, it's time to reveal what can silently strengthen or destroy that inner fire, your mental environment. Napoleon Hill was categorical. The human mind resembles fertile soil. Plant thoughts of success, and you'll harvest success. Plant thoughts of failure, and that's what you'll reap. But here's what many forget. You're not the only one planting in your mind. Your environment is planting too. Every conversation you hear, every news story you consume, every person you surround yourself with, every content you allow into your consciousness, those are all seeds being planted daily in your inner garden. So today, I ask you a deep question. Who's planting your mind, and what are they sowing? Imagine your mind as a walled garden. Inside, your dreams, projects, and purest aspirations grow. Now imagine that every time you talk to a negative person, every time you absorb fear-driven news, it's like opening a crack in the wall and letting in toxic weeds that choke your growing flowers. The mind can't flourish in a polluted environment. Napoleon Hill knew this, which is why he insisted on creating fertile environments, surrounding yourself with people who lift your vision, not crush it. This isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your purpose. Your dream is too valuable to expose to any frequency. Just as you wouldn't plant precious seeds in poisoned soil, you can't build an invincible mind in a toxic environment. So starting today, become the fierce guardian of your mental garden. Close the doors to energy-draining conversations. Silence the voices that plant doubt in your heart. Consciously choose what you read, watch, and listen to. Every book you open, every video you consume, every word you let into your mind is another seed. Make them seeds of growth, faith, and infinite possibility. And don't forget something even more important. The most decisive environment isn't outside you. It's within. It's your self-talk. The words you say to yourself when no one's listening. The stories you repeat in moments of silence. What narrative dominates your inner world? Do you speak to yourself as an architect of possibilities or a prisoner of circumstances? Napoleon Hill taught that mastering your inner dialogue was more important than mastering any external conversation. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who spent the most time with yourself. So today, I propose this. Do an environment cleanse, not just outside, but inside. Identify the conversations you need to limit. Recognize the content that no longer deserves your attention. And most importantly, transform your self-talk into your greatest source of power. Tell yourself, every day, I'm building something great. Every step brings me closer to my purpose. The universe conspires in my favor. I'm stronger than any circumstance. Repeat these truths until they become your air, your blood, your new normal. Because when your mind dwells in a fertile environment, ideas flourish. Persistence strengthens. Vision clarifies. And what seemed hard becomes inevitable. Napoleon Hill said, "You become what you give most attention to over time." So focus on what you want to create, not what you fear losing. Today, become the conscious gardener of your mind. Tend to your inner soil like the treasure it is. Water it daily with faith. Protect it with determination. Cultivate it with love. Because in the next stage, you'll discover that alongside a fertile environment, there's an even more powerful tool, one few know how to use: creative imagination. Now that you've started building a fertile mental environment, you're ready to activate one of the most underrated yet powerful tools you possess: your creative imagination. Napoleon Hill left no room for doubt. Imagination is the workshop where all human plans are fashioned. It's not a luxury or distraction. It's the invisible laboratory where you begin shaping your destiny. Imagine for a moment that inside you, there's a silent architect, a tireless creator, a visionary who doesn't need physical materials to start building, just your permission to design realities. Every time you close your eyes and see something that doesn't yet exist in the physical world, you're activating your inner workshop. You're taking the first chisel strike to the invisible statue of your future. And here's the marvel. Your mind doesn't distinguish between what you see with your physical eyes and what you see with your imagination. If both experiences are emotionally real, when you imagine with enough emotion, when you feel in your body the weight, texture, and vibration of your vision, your subconscious starts accepting it as inevitable truth. Napoleon Hill spoke of two types of imagination: synthetic imagination, combining existing ideas, limited to the known, and creative imagination, the divine spark connecting to the invisible, shaping what hasn't yet been created. The great innovators, the true pioneers, didn't operate solely in the realm of logic. They lived in the realm of possible. Thomas Edison didn't just manufacture a light bulb. He saw it lighting rooms long before the first spark of light became real. Henry Ford didn't just build cars. He visualized millions driving on streets that didn't yet exist. Walt Disney walked empty land and already saw castles, laughter, and dreams made real. They weren't magicians. They were masters of creative imagination. And so can you be. What future are you willing to imagine today? What image can you create so vividly that your heart starts racing as if you're already living it? Because here's the power. Every time you imagine your success with detail, emotion, and faith, you're training your mind and body to act in alignment with that vision. Your brain starts spotting opportunities it previously missed. Your energy shifts. Your words change. Your actions change. And the universe, obedient to the vibration you emit, starts moving in your favor. But the key is persistence in the mental image. Napoleon Hill warned, most people start with a powerful vision, but abandon it at the first sign of opposition. True mastery lies in holding the image even when the tangible world screams otherwise, in keeping the success alive in your mind, feeling the victory, walking as if you've already conquered, even when everything around you seems to deny it. Creative imagination is your refuge, your engine, your anchor in the storm. It's the space where you keep building even when the outside seems in ruins. Every day, dedicate conscious time to enter your invisible workshop. Visualize clearly how your life feels when you've achieved your goal. Where are you? Who's with you? What emotions flood your body? Don't be vague. Don't be lukewarm. Be detailed. Be passionate. Make it so real inside that your mind has no choice but to start turning it into your outer reality. Remember, everything you see in the physical world today was once just an image in someone's mind, someone who dared to hold on to it against all odds. The light bulb, airplanes, phones, skyscrapers, everything. You have the same creative spark within you. The question is, will you have the courage to imagine, believe, and act as if your vision is already inevitable? Because in the next step, you'll discover how that powerful vision, when combined with focused action, becomes an unstoppable force capable of transforming any reality. You've planted the seed. You've strengthened your mental garden. You've imagined your destiny with burning clarity. Now comes the pivotal moment, the moment that separates dreamers from creators. Action. Napoleon Hill made it crystal clear. Faith without action is useless. Action is what turns dreams into realities. Imagine a ship at sea. No matter how perfect its design or how grand its destination, if it never raises anchor, it'll never sail. Your life is the same. Your dreams, visualizations, and affirmations are the ship's design, the treasure map. But your action is what hoists the sails and sets it in motion. Nothing changes until you move. The universe responds to energy in motion, not at rest. Every step you take, every brave decision, every measured risk you embrace sends a clear signal. I'm ready. I trust. I'm advancing, even before I see the full path. Napoleon Hill taught that the world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards concrete steps. You don't need to know every step from the start, just the first one. Then each step reveals the next. Action creates clarity. Action builds faith. Action turns doubt into certainty. Think of it this way. When a bird perches on a branch, it doesn't trust the branch. It trusts its wings. That's how you must act. Don't put your faith in external circumstances, ideal conditions, or absolute guarantees. Put your faith in your ability to fly, to adapt, persist, and build the path as you walk. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the day everything aligns, the magical sign that says, now. But that day, that sign, that guarantee never comes. Because the perfect moment isn't found, it's created. It's decided. Napoleon Hill insisted, procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. Waiting to feel ready is the most sophisticated form of self-sabotage. Act now. Act incomplete. Act unsure. Act scared. Because when you act, even trembling, even doubting, the universe responds. Every step you take releases energy once trapped in indecision. Every movement generates new possibilities. Every firm decision opens doors you couldn't see before. Never underestimate the power of a single step. Sometimes what seems like a small move, an almost insignificant decision, is the one that triggers a chain of events altering your entire destiny. Napoleon Hill said, "Success doesn't come from one monumental leap. It comes from small, consistent steps driven by a definite purpose." So today, I invite you to do something concrete. Think of one action, however small, you can take today toward your vision. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. What call can you make? What email can you send? What decision can you take? What first step can you commit to? Because the moment you take action, your vibration changes. Your perception shifts. Your life starts moving. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Action transforms not just your surroundings, but your identity. Every move you make reaffirms your new story. I'm someone who acts. I'm someone who decides. I'm someone who builds. And in that daily construction, in those small, consistent movements, is where dreams find solid ground to become real. Remember, the universe doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your determination. When you act as if everything's conspiring in your favor, even without all the answers, even before seeing results. You're planting invisible flags in your future. And those flags, those signals, those acts of faith turned into motion become the pillars of the life you're destined to build. So today, take the first step, small or large, it doesn't matter. Move, and watch how, step by step, the universe starts moving with you. Because in the next stage, you'll discover that when you combine action with definiteness of purpose, an even more powerful force activates. One capable of bending the most challenging circumstances to your favor. Today, you've traveled a journey few dare to start. A journey into your mind, to the true power that's always been within you. You've learned that your dominant thoughts shape your reality. That your subconscious is the fertile soil where future successes or failures are planted. That every word, image, and emotion is a powerful seed in your inner garden. You've discovered the invisible bridge of autosuggestion and how to program your mind to believe in what you can't yet see. You've understood that great transformations don't come from waiting for the perfect moment, but from making firm decisions amid uncertainty. That true faith isn't passive, it's active. It's movement. You've immersed yourself in the importance of persistence, that silent force separating dreamers from conquerors. You've seen how your mental environment, internal and external, can be your greatest ally or worst enemy. And finally, you've ignited the infinite power of your creative imagination, the invisible workshop where everything great takes shape before being born into the physical world. But there's something beyond all knowledge, action. Because everything you've learned today will only become true power if you choose to act. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. The universe doesn't respond to timid wishes. It responds to firm decisions. It responds to movement. Every step, no matter how small, is a declaration to the world. I'm ready. I trust my path. I know where I'm going. And believe me, when you act as if everything's working in your favor, something magical happens. The universe starts rearranging itself for you. Doors that seemed closed begin to crack open. The right people appear. Opportunities flow, not because the world changed, but because you did. Today, you've planted new seeds. Today, you've strengthened your mind. Today, you've rewritten your story. And now, you have two choices. You can close this video and continue as if nothing happened. Or you can consciously decide that this is the first day of your new life. The first day where every thought, emotion, and action is chosen not by fear, but by faith. Chosen not by need, but by purpose. Because as Napoleon Hill taught, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And today, you've started conceiving something greater for yourself.